safety on campus isn't just about being alone at night or walking alone at night. It's about every moment, every interaction, every space we occupy. Do you feel safe on campus?
So, what do you think safety on campus means?
Being able to walk around and not feeling endangered, being able to go into all the buildings or go anywhere on campus.
I feel like safety to me would be, not being really concerned about walking around at night.
Just being good to the community and stuff.
Welcome to the Voice Podcast, and I'm your host and president, Jamila Washington.
My name is Caitlin Fletcher. I'm your vice president.
And this is our guest speaker that we are thrilled to be joining us today, Miss
Katie Demareth Cook. I'm your campus advocate.
All right. In this episode, we're going to be talking about campus safety, what's working, what's not working, the gaps, the facts, and what students need to know.
When you think about safety on campus, what do you think about? Maybe it's the security officers. Maybe it's the check-ins late at night. Maybe it's the buddy system.
Me personally, I think when I think about safety on campus, as I picked a school, I was thinking about a close-knit atmosphere, something that UWO does offer and have, as well as locked doors and access to our police system. What do you have to offer for us?
Absolutely. So I love when I was first thinking about safety is like I wanted to define what safety meant. And I read an amazing book many moons ago by Bill Hooks and all about love. And so ever since I read that book, she defined love, and it really gave me a beautiful perspective on what love is. And so now from then on, I define what we're talking about. And so I think that's important. But before I do that, I think it might be a good idea, if you're okay with it, should I read the definition of love?
Of course.
Okay, brilliant. So Bell Hooks defines love as a mix of various ingredients of care, affection, recognition, respect, kindness, commitment, and trust, as well as honest and open communication.
So what I'm getting from this is that in order to be and to have a safe campus, we have to first love our neighbors and our community.
Absolutely. And you start with yourself.
Yes.
Right? So I love that we're talking about safety. I think this is amazing. And love is always at the forefront of how I do things in life. And I just thought that they paired well together. And so as you know, we just defined love. The definition of safety is the freedom from the unacceptable risk. So like just pausing and taking a breath of like, what is unacceptable to me? When do I feel safe? And I feel safe when I have I have free will. I can do what is safe to me, what feels good within me, that is respectful to me and to other people. And, and that brings me into consent, right? Consent is important for safety. And that is why it's important to check in, what makes you feel safe.
So then that leads me to the question, like, now we all know that our campus has a nickname Sloshkosh. Mm-hmm. Are we able to give full consent under the influence?
Oh, great question. Absolutely not. We cannot give consent under the influence because the big part of consent is safety. And so am I safe when I'm, influenced, under the influence? And so consent cannot be given.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. What do you think?
I'm sorry, another question.
Oh, yeah.
I'm sorry. And the thing I see a lot here, like with age, like a lot of younger underage girls, like, do you feel like they are able to give consent?
No. Again, you have to be safe. Consent cannot be given by a minor, especially. So, like, it's just really about building the kind of world we want to live in, and we do that by modeling this. So showing up, having these conversations. I'm so grateful you're having this conversation within your group, but you're sharing this with your community. And so when we do that, that's how we build a better world, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, absolutely.
does safety look like to me? I feel like safety is, I don't know how, like, the word. I want to say security, like,
Yes.
not just like physical security, like emotional, maybe, like
Not looking over your shoulder.
not looking over your shoulder. Another thing, like with walking alone at night by yourself, taking those extra measures to make sure you do feel safe. Whether it's, I don't want to say weapons, but like maybe pepper spray, maybe things like that if your school allows it.
And then
in
that leads
way.
me to a question. What are the appropriate and acceptable forms of weaponry that is allowed on campus?
Ooh, that is a great question. I don't know that I'm the best person for that. But I do know that Officer Chance and who else have I connected with? Officer Chris would be a great resource for that. I did just have a conversation with him last week, so I can say for sure that I know for sure, like, tasers are not, those are not acceptable and those cannot be on campus. I'm not sure about mace. Do you know?
I think mace is acceptable.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
I
that's,
do think so.
yeah, that's a great
But
something to
I-
look into.
In the past, I have maced somebody on campus. I know, crazy. But I did feel the need to protect my friend. And when the police officers confronted us and asked us about everything, they did make me aware that as long as it's a self-defense, like you're macing someone in the act of something occurring, it's all right. But if your friend calls you and she's like, hey, I need help, this guy is hurting me, or whatever the case may be, and you go and you be a vigilante, then that there is not acceptable because your friend had ample opportunities to call 911. So
Yeah, and I think that's important to continue that conversation on is like if maybe you are underage and you are, under the influence and something does go wrong, you are protected under a law that you will not get in trouble for seeking safety.
okay, so that brings me to another question because we had a interviewee earlier in the week, and she confided in our group about her underage drinking. She is a freshman this year, and they had one too many drinks in their dorm room. They had a number of people in their dorm room, 11 plus people, and things got a bit crazy, and she thought that she was roofied. Now, her complaint was when she went to the police to ask for help, they gave her an underage drinking ticket, and they deemed that she was not roofied. So in cases like that, do you think that would, like, what would be your advice for students so they won't feel discouraged to go to, like, the police for help?
Yep. And so I'm specifically talking about the campus safety.
Yeah.
So is that who was called?
Yes.
And okay, so from my understanding is that if you're seeking safety in that situation, that you are to get the help that you're needed and that you are not to get a ticket.
Okay.
So that would be a situation that I would definitely seek to the Title IX. That is what our Title IX is for,
Okay.
is to protect our students from that.
All right.
And so then they would use that as a moment to repair and to learn from that situation.
yeah.
But that's the priority, is our safety. Our
Yeah.
safety is key.
And we never want students to feel discouraged about reaching out and asking for help, because if we don't ask for help, then things could escalate to so many different measures that we don't want them to.
Absolutely. Yep, absolutely. And I love what you said earlier when you said some people refer to Oshkosh as
Slosh Kosh.
right. And so I would just encourage everybody just to take a moment, like, how am I showing up to shift that narrative,
Yeah.
right? And what other people say about you is a reflection of them.
Yes.
And so, and then in the same breath, you can, take some accountability with how you're representing yourself, because that's the number one priority. And then UW Oshkosh is so lucky to have you here.
Yeah.
And that's the secondary. So it's like, how am I showing up
Yeah.
to shift that narrative?
And then to build off of what you're saying, safety goes both ways. It's not just, oh, my friend is in danger, let me help. Are you keeping your friend group and your friends and yourself safe by over drinking what you should be, by blacking out or relying on everybody else to take care of you when everybody's in the same situation.
Absolutely. I love that awareness and that gentle call in. Like calling not only yourself but your peers into this conversation, because we're not promoting drinking, right?
Oh, absolutely not.
Not at all.
Right?
Especially underage.
Especially underage.
Absolutely.
Question. So I don't want to say this in a certain way. So like, do you know how like people say certain things about Scots and how certain activities happen in Scots and how it's kind of like the hot place? So would that like affect people coming out, like, or saying
To
if something
ask for
happened,
help?
Yeah, would that might like affect and like, oh, maybe the police might not come because it's always active or this, that, and the third, or maybe because I know a few things have happened to people. Like people have said a few things have happened to them in Scots. So I'm like, do people actually come forward to the police living in Scots? Like, would that affect it at all?
Okay, so I'm not familiar with Scots. So what I'm understanding is it's a place where some
Wild
It's
things
really
occur.
are happening, and so there's maybe some like sexual assaults.
Yes.
Things happening
We've
and like
heard
that.
several things about that, as well as Florida. If you are unfamiliar with the Florida of Scots, that is the LGBTQ floor. And I've gotten so many reports about other floor members coming onto the floor to harass and attack, belittle, and embarrass those members of the LGBTQ community.
Okay.
And that is not safety on Oshkosh.
Absolutely, that's not okay. And so when it makes me want to bring us into the active bystander conversation, and so maybe this is a good time to go into that.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Okay, so that leads us into our next segment. What does it mean to be an active bystander? Not just on the UWO campus, but in general.
So it would just be like seeing but not involving yourself in it.
Like a lot of people be saying the N word around and nobody says anything.
Awesome, thank you. So I love that we're talking about this. I actually have an active bystander slideshow that I was able to pull up. And so there's some key information in here that I'd love to read.
Yeah.
And so again, we're going to define active bystander because we love Bell Hooks and she taught us that. When you are passionate about something, define it, because then you're able to see who's with you and who has a different perspective of it.
You're also able to set an even playing field for all members of the discussion.
Brilliant.
We all know what we're going to be addressing moving forward once we have a clear understanding of what that topic is.
Absolutely. Brilliant. So let's see. So an active bystander is someone who not only witnesses a situation, but takes steps to speak up or step in to disrupt a problematic situation. So that is what an active bystander is going to do.
So if two young men are fighting on the sidewalk, do you run up and intervene? Do you walk away? Or do you call the police?
Brilliant questions. And so many of us are going to approach this situation differently.
Yeah.
And I want to share with you 5 different possibilities that like we share with students. And there might be more. So that's the cool thing about having a conversation and sharing what you think as well. So I'm going to share them and then you tell me if there's any more that come through. But that situation, you have a direct approach as a possibility. You want to always assess your safety. So your safety is always key, right? So if you feel safe approaching somebody that's being physical with another person, that's your autonomy, right? If you don't feel safe, which is completely understandable, then you might want to use a distract approach. So literally screaming and running the other way. That's a distract.
That is
right?
a distract.
Another one would be delegate. Hey, you have a friend that maybe is built a little different and is maybe at the, more equates to the person that is being physical, And so, hey, do you feel comfortable?
Confronting.
Yeah, going and stopping this immediately.
Yeah.
Right? And then, so that's delegate. Delay is observing the situation and then going and calling or reporting it. So do you have like apps or like where you can report something anonymously?
I don't think so. That's a great question. We do have this app called Yik Yak, but it's more of like, you just share anonymous thoughts, like what's going on today or how you feel or somebody did something to you. That's more like protected anonymously. But as far as like to actually help things anonymously, I don't think so.
Okay, so that's another great, avenue we could like look into.
Yeah.
Because I do know that we have those in our like elementary schools and middle schools and high schools. So I think that would be a brilliant addition if we don't have it
I
here.
agree.
Absolutely. And then document. So like, typing in your notes like what you saw or recording
record it.
And these approaches are the same.
Yeah.
So it's like just check in. Does the direct approach fit you? And sometimes that might not be appropriate. So it's document or delayed approach.
Yeah.
And
Delegate.
quick question.
Yeah.
Do you feel more prone to the direct approach because you are a safety advocate?
Oh, it's definitely just how I've always been. I've always been, at a certain point in my life, I became a very direct person because I wasn't safe in other situations. And so as a child, I learned how healthy ways to show up and how to be. And so I learned that directness was the best way to approach unsafe situations in my experience, in my lived experience.
Yeah.
So I became really good at that. I mean, I was a point guard in basketball. So like, there's just common threads, right?
Yeah.
So I was up, and you have to be really direct in that role.
Yeah.
So I played basketball all the way from a young age all the way through college.
Now, for our friends who are not as direct, who can they go to? Who can they call?
Absolutely. So your campus safety, as I mentioned, Officer Chance and Officer Chris.
Do you have phone numbers for them?
Oh, yes, I do. So Chance, let's see. Officer Chance is 920-424-1212. And then Officer Chris is 920-424-1212. Awesome. So it's the same number. Brilliant.
Okay.
Awesome. So that's all we need to know with like that, right?
Yeah.
So, but I would encourage to continue the conversation and check in, because I love that you ask, who should we contact?
Yeah.
Right? But just check in with your friend group. Who here is direct? Who here is really comfortable at distracting?
Yeah.
And I know I was real good at distracting in certain parts, like in high school. Like when I didn't want to learn something, I wasn't good at something, so that I learned how to distract, right? Not promoting that exactly, but there was wisdom that I got from it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then delegate. Who's really good at like finding the best person to do the job?
Yeah.
That's a skill.
Exactly.
Right? And then delay. It's like being able to observe the situation and then delay. Oh, okay, yeah, that didn't look right. And that some time went by and I'm still going to do something about it. Because sometimes people just let it go. I'm like, oh, well, nobody did anything. And then the last one is document. So just like who's really good at like taking their phone out and actually typing down the details, because we all think we're going to remember them. And sometimes we don't remember them the way that it was.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. And so you want to think about how can technology help us in that really.
Yeah. And I think a lot of it is also remembering that we're an Oshkosh family. We all live here now. We all work and eat and go to school and do everything of our livelihoods together.
Absolutely.
So you have to remember that just because you don't know that person doesn't mean they're not worth saving. They're not worth intervening for, because every life is worth saving.
Absolutely. I love that. So I do want to share this. There's some science behind all of this awesome stuff that we're talking about. And so it's the 80-20 effect. And so if you're walking in a group of people, you are 20% likely to do something to help a situation that needs help. If you're walking by yourself, you're 80% likely to do something.
Oh, wow. Wow.
Because most people, when we're in a group experiencing something, they're thinking somebody else is going to do something. Or some people are like, that's overwhelming, that's a lot, I don't want. And then they're aware that people are judging those people.
Yeah.
And then they're surely not going to get involved in the mix because they don't want to be
Right.
judged. But when we judge people, we can't love them.
Right.
So let's just end that cycle and create this new cycle.
Yes. Yeah.
So there's some science behind it. So, and I'm a person, as I'm sure all of you are, because you're getting a degree. You're working
Yes,
towards
exactly.
education. And when we know, it's Maya Angelou said this, do the best that you can with what you know. And then when you know better, you do better. And information is power. So I share that stat with you to empower you to be the 80 or the 20 to speak up.
Well, thank you. That's all we have for today. But before we go, I just want to leave you guys with something. Make sure you guys are thinking about what safety means to you and what role you can play if you're ever in a situation where someone is in need. And also, be aware of our next episode dropping soon. Is Black murder normal? Thank you.